I went back and forth trying to think of the right words to say that would give this beautiful 16-year-old girl the introduction that she deserved. And to be honest, I struggled with it quite a bit. And I think the reason for it is because I haven't actually been able to wrap my head around the events that took place and how two young kids that were supposed to be Brianna's friends could do what they did to her. So I'm just going to jump right into this story and try my absolute best to get through it and give this beautiful young girl story the justice that it deserves. Hi guys, welcome or welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. It is so greatly appreciated. It truly, truly is. Before we get started, let me give you my usual disclaimer. This video is for educational purposes only. Please do not take what I say as fact. Please always do your own research and come to your own conclusions. Next, if you have not liked, subscribed, or commented yet, please consider doing so because it really helps me out and I really, really appreciate it. So, Brianna Ghey was a beautiful 16-year-old transgender girl. She loved attention. She wanted to be famous. She had an infectious smile and she was incredibly funny. Her mother, Esther, was a single mom doing her absolute best to raise Brianna and her sister, Alicia, the best way that she knew how. As a toddler, Brianna was very active. Her mother describes raising her as needing to have eyes in the back of her head. She was also a very talented gymnast who favored tumbling. She was also very popular on TikTok and had over 30,000 followers on there. Brianna did have some issues though, and her mother Esther was very open and very honest about them. She was diagnosed with dyslexia and ADHD. She also struggled with her mental health. You know when they say never judge a book by its cover? Well, Brianna could have been the spokesperson for that saying. Because even though she came across as a person that was very outgoing, she had terrible anxiety. She would self-harm. And she also had an eating disorder that her mother believed started around the time that the lockdown started. But to Esther's credit, once again, she did have her daughter hospitalized for it. And as a mother, I don't know that there's much more that you can do other than to watch them 24/7, and that's just not logical. It was also around this time that Brianna would come out to her mother and her sister as being transgender and wanting to begin her transformation. Brianna was born a male. Esther says that when her daughter told her this, her response was that she did not care. Just as long as her daughter was happy and felt safe, she was completely behind her decision. 15-year-old Scarlett Jenkinson. She had a very stable upbringing and her parents were happily married. Her mom was a teacher and her dad was a builder. Scarlett is the youngest of 4 siblings with 3 older brothers. Scarlett had her own issues as well, and she would actually begin cutting at the age of 11 while she was attending Colchester High School. This would also be the place that she would first meet 15-year-old Eddie Radcliffe. Just like Scarlett, Eddie Radcliffe had never been in trouble with the law. He was described as quiet and shy and had also come from a pretty typical upbringing. Mom was a graphic designer and dad ran a kickboxing gym. Eddie was described as a top student and was the middle child with an older brother and a younger sister. Eddie and Scarlett became very good friends and they actually remained good friends even after Scarlett got kicked out of Colchester. Why did she get kicked out of Colchester, you ask? Because she gave cannabis gummies to fellow classmates. From there, she was sent to Birchwood Community High School, where she would meet and befriend Brianna. Eddie would later describe Scarlett as not being normal, saying that she would send him odd things that said, like, she would send him odd things like shag your mom and stab your cat. Like, it was very strange. She also had this really sick, twisted obsession with serial, and she would like study them. To be fair, Eddie was no angel himself when it came to texting odd things to Scarlett. And the two would come up with a kill list, with the list consisting of 5 people that they wanted to get rid of. Messages between the two when Eddie thought that another classmate was interested in the same girl as him went as follows. I thought he was your friend, but you seem pretty okay with me. He is my friend, to be honest, but I don't care if you... I can do my best to help you, too. Just ask me to do it and I'll do it. I will try to wear a mask, use a voice changer. I'm going to let you decide what to do with him. If you kill him, I would like you to do as you see fit. Cut out his heart, cook it, and feed it to your dog. December 5th, 2022. More messages. I love watching torture vids, real ones on the dark web. I've liked this stuff for a while, and I've finally found a good red room. For context, red rooms are sites on the dark web where people can watch the live torture and unalivings of people. Scarlett was 15 years old when she downloaded a browser that allowed her to view these sites online. By mid-December of 2022, Scarlett had become friends with Brianna. She sent Eddie a text message telling him all about her new friend. I'm obsessed over someone I know, but don't have feelings for them. She's called Brianna. I don't know how to explain. Also, she has a dick. Laugh out loud. Is it a femboy or a tranny? Tell me what you feel when you interact with it. This was also something that came up a lot because it was almost as if Eddie Radcliffe diminished her as a person. He only refers to her as an it, never as a person.
You did not know Brianna. You knew only what Scarlett told you. She said Brianna was transgender and sent you pictures of her. Your messages about Brianna were transphobic. You consistently referred to her in a way that was dehumanizing, calling her it. You also described her as a femboy thing. When discussing Brianna, you agreed with Scarlett that she would be the easiest victim and said, and I want to see if it will scream like a man or a girl. You said, really all I wanted is to see what size dick it had. In your messages about Brianna, you undoubtedly displayed hostility towards her based on her transgender identity.
I got nervous and stuff, but my heart felt normal. I don't think you're necessarily in love, but I think you're more curious and intrigued by its unnatural nature. Scarlett sent messages to Eddie about having a really sharp blade, the same one that Sweeney Todd used. For context again, Sweeney Todd is the fictional Victorian demon barber of Fleet Street. She also sent him messages about wanting to keep body parts as souvenirs. Another person on the list was a classmate of Scarlett's known as Boy R. Scarlett asked Eddie to help her get rid of him, saying, so, I need help somebody named Boy R. It's his fault if I get expelled, and I really, really hate it. What did he do? The old teacher about me taking pills and stuff. Boy R is a dick to me, and he deserves to die. What pills or medicine? LSD. Later that same day, the conversation about Boy R continued. Scarlett tells Eddie that she needs his help to restrain him, saying, I want your help to with his brain and slit his throat. Eddie then tells her that he will go search Chinese torture, later searching up 20 of the slowest torture methods, medieval torture techniques, and sensory deprivation. The following day, Scarlett tried to get rid of another boy that was referred to as Boy E. She set up a fake Instagram account and tried to get Boy E to talk to her so that she could eventually lure him somewhere to unalive him. When Boy E refused to take Scarlett's bait, though, she moved on to Brianna and she focused all of her attention on her. She had originally planned to get rid of Brianna at Linear Park on June 27th, 2023, writing to Eddie. She's agreed to come to Colchester tomorrow. So I bring my knife. Yes, it is definitely sharp enough, by the way. Meet me at the wooden post in Linear at 12. We'll go over the plan again. And I'll show you where I'm her. And then we will both walk to the library to meet her. And grab onto Brianna and her throat. When she starts to fall, her again in the back, and then pass me the knife. I just want to her at least once, even if she's dead, just because it's fun. Laugh out loud. Eddie suggests to Scarlett that they have code words to use once Brianna is in position for the attack to begin, saying, let's have 2 words, one for getting the knife and another for this. Or get knife ready. I'll look at you and cough, and to stab, I'll say gay. Luckily for Brianna, she would have to call and cancel on Scarlett that night after she was told that she needed to attend a dinner with her family. Following that evening, Scarlett became obsessed with getting rid of Brianna. Not for any reason other than that she just wanted to do it. And unfortunately, Brianna was just her collateral damage. Writing to Eddie. Let's Brianna tomorrow, 6 p.m. If I can, then yes. Eddie would end up being the one to cancel on Scarlett this time because it was a school night and he had a lot of studying to do. Scarlett writes, please come out tomorrow between 6 and 8 p.m. To which he responds, it's a school day. I'll be eating around 7. Please, I want it done ASAP. Can't, it's a school night. I don't want to wait. I want her to die really badly. I just want to see the pure horror on her face and hear her scream in pain. This is now twice that either one of them could have come to their senses and put this whole entire ridiculously heinous idea to rest. But instead, Scarlett Jenkinson decides to double down on her dumbass idea and send Eddie a note detailing how the whole thing will go down. The date, Saturday, February 11th, 2023. Place, meet Eddie at Wooden Posts, 1 p.m. Walk down to library bus stop. Wait until Brianna gets off bus, then the 3 of us walk to Linear Park. Go to the pipe area. I say code word to Eddie. Her in the back, and I in the stomach. Eddie drags the body into the area. We both cover up the area. 2 days before everything is set to go down, Scarlett sends Eddie a message. I'm excited about Saturday. Side note, this whole thing that she wrote up, it reads like a birthday party invitation or something. It's that they're attending together. It's very strange. And then when you realize what she actually wrote, it is just one big mindfuck. It really is. Eddie says, why? Brianna, remember? Oh yeah. Are you excited? I forgot. How? Because I'm eating. This is also something that messed with my head because this kid doesn't seem to care all that much if he follows through with it or not. So why wouldn't you just put a stop to it? I don't actually believe that she would have gone through with this alone. Like, I believe this was something that she was only going to do with somebody else and somebody that she trusted. I really do think that for Scarlett, it was a strength in numbers type of deal. But nevertheless, Eddie agreed to go through with the plan. Scarlett invited Brianna to the park for the following day, and the last parts of the plan began to fall into place. Friday, January 10th, 2023, Scarlett writes to Eddie asking which knife he's going to bring with him. He tells her that it's the hunting knife that he has shown her before. Scarlett writes, and that will definitely 100% her. Yes, it cuts my skin easily. I'm excited AF for tomorrow. Saturday, February 11th, 2023. The three arranged to meet at Linear Park at 1:30 p.m. At 12:45, Brianna leaves her home to catch the bus. She was wearing a very distinctive outfit that day. A skirt, white thigh-high socks, and a white fluffy jacket. And a lot of people, just random people, remembered this outfit mainly because it was an incredibly cold day. While on the bus, Brianna sends her mother a text message to tell her that she was alone and she was scared. Her mother, who was happy that Brianna was out of the house after spending several days in her bedroom, reassured her daughter that she would be just fine. Then it would later come out that Brianna never saw this message because after everything went down and they found her phone, the message was never read.
Brianna suffered anxiety and was nervous about going out. But on the 11th of February last year, you got her to meet you in Linear Park. For all her fears, she could not possibly have known you were a danger to her.
CCTV footage shows the three meeting up at the bus stop and then walking towards Linear Park, where they find a bench and they sit down. Within minutes of arriving to the park, Scarlett and Eddie begin Brianna. Brianna had 28 wounds to her head, neck, back, and chest, along with multiple defense wounds to her hands and her arms.
There were 28 deep wounds to the head, neck, chest, and back, some causing bony damage, showing considerable force was used. There were also other injuries, not themselves fatal, but inflicted while Brianna was still alive. Defensive injuries to the arms show that she had tried to defend herself. One wound passed right through the upper arm, and another left the wrist gaping open. There were other lesser wounds and cuts. Taken together, the injuries point to a sustained and very violent assault. Sadly, Brianna cannot have lost consciousness immediately, and she must have been aware she was being attacked.
Almost immediately after Brianna was gone, a married couple, Mr. and Mrs. Weiss, are walking their dog in the park. They see Eddie kneeling over something. When the teens spot the couple, they get up and they run off. But not before Scarlett stops, turns around, and makes eye contact with Mrs. Weiss for 8 to 10 seconds, which she would later say basically sent a chill down her spine. When they walk over to Brianna, she's face down in the mud and there's blood all over her. So the couple call the police. At 3:25 p.m., life-saving measures are done in an attempt to save Brianna's life. And at 4:02 p.m., Brianna is pronounced dead at the scene. They drop Brianna's phone down a drain and then they go their separate ways. After the two get home, they begin sending messages to each other, most likely in an attempt to throw police off their track. At 5:25 p.m., Scarlett writes, "My brother just told me not to go to Linear Park because a woman got..." Jesus, really? At 11:11 p.m., Scarlett writes, "Do you have anxiety about getting caught?" "Probably. You're not going to get caught. Don't worry. Police are shit here." The following morning, Scarlett sends Brianna messages to her phone, knowing full well that she would not be able to see them, read them, or respond to them. "Girl, is everything okay? Some teenage girl got in Linear Park. It was on the news everywhere. And why did you ditch us for some random man from Manchester?" When a friend of Scarlett's reached out to her to ask if it was Brianna that had gotten in the park, Scarlett responds, "She was only with us for like 15 minutes. Then she ditched us to go meet some lad. It wouldn't have been her. She said she was going to Manchester." That same day at around 5 p.m., Scarlett's mother called the police to tell them that her daughter had been with Brianna the day before. She handed the phone to Scarlett, who gave them the same story about the boy that she left with. She then sends Eddie Radcliffe a message that says, "Make sure story adds up to police. We met Brianna at 1:30, walked to Linear, and sat and chilled on the bench. Then Brianna looked at her phone, said she was going to meet some lad, and walked off." At 6:25 that night, Scarlett posted a picture of Brianna to Snapchat with the caption, "Brianna was one of the best people I have ever met and such an amazing friend. It's so sickening what got done to her." Around the same time, Eddie Radcliffe was doing some Googling of his own, Googling things like Data Protection Act offenses and penalties for supplying or withholding information, along with measures to support people giving evidence and on bail. Around 7:30 p.m. that night, police simultaneously arrived to the home of Scarlett and Eddie to arrest them.
You Eddie?
Yeah.
Eddie, you lot of suspicion of me, alright? You didn't have to say anything, but you may harm you eventually when questioned. See you later on in court, and if you do say evidence, do you understand?
Yeah. Unlock these. I can explain it.
No, listen.
Right, listen.
Do it all on interview, alright?
Yeah.
You're going to take it to the wrong corner, you'll be interviewed about it, they'll ask you questions, alright?
Obviously you are under caution, so anything you say is getting recorded. Okay?
With me being suspect is because like I was the last person seen her, or like how come I'm suspect?
Pardon?
Like, how come I'm a suspect?
How come you're a suspect?
Because I'm the last person that's seen her, is it?
I don't know. All the information I've received is you are a suspect.
Inside Scarlett's room, they find a kitchen knife with multiple handwritten notes. A picture of one of the notes was sent to Eddie Radcliffe a week before the incident, which said, "Saturday, the 11th of February, 2023. Victim, Brianna Ghey. Meet Eddie at Wooden Post, 1 p.m. Walk down to Library bus stop. Wait until Brianna gets off bus, then the three of us walk to Linear Park. Go to the pipe tunnel area. I say code word to Eddie. He in the back and I in the stomach. Eddie drags her into the area. We both cover up the area with logs, etc." Which is exactly how everything went down. A second note with a second plan was also found in Scarlett's bedroom. This one said, "Give them alcohol with sleeping pills, slit throat, dismember body. Place pieces in bin bags. Bury bags 7 feet underground. Get her to go to Linear Park. Go to the hidden spot near the bridge. Someone jumps out and restrains her. Her." In Eddie Radcliffe's room, they find a pair of bloody mud-stained pants and jacket. They were tested and came back as a positive match with Brianna. They also found a hunting knife with tissue and blood belonging to Brianna. At the scene, they found a bottle of Dr. Pepper and a bottle of Coke, which had Scarlett and Eddie's DNA on it. Scarlett and Eddie are brought down to separate police stations and they're also questioned separately. Scarlett claims that she and Eddie met Brianna at 1:30 p.m. at Culture Library. They went to Linear Park. They sat on a bench where they hung out and talked. Brianna looked at her phone and told them that she needed to go meet this lad. He was 17 from Manchester and he was picking her up. She says that when she questioned Brianna about who it was, Brianna told her to stop interrogating her, got up, and left. Eddie Radcliffe claims that the three were indeed in Linear Park that day, and this was the first time that he had ever met Brianna. He says that he walked away to go to the bathroom, and when he came back, he saw Scarlett, Brianna repeatedly. He explained the blood on the clothes by saying that it was from him going to check on Brianna to see if she was still alive. Professionals, however, have said that the pattern of the blood splatter on the clothing is indicative with somebody being up close and personal to Brianna as she's being killed. The only thing that the two did agree on was that neither one of them were responsible for the death of Brianna. Shocking, I know. It's a shocking revelation. On February 2nd, 2024, Scarlett Jenkinson was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum term of 22 years. Eddie Radcliffe was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum term of 20 years.
As you know, that is a life sentence. I must also set the minimum time before you can be considered for release. But how long you will actually serve will not be decided today. You will only be released if, in the future, it is decided that you no longer present a danger. That decision will be for the parole board. If you remain a danger, you will serve very much longer than the minimum term and may never be released.
Brianna's mother has since spoken out to say that she has her good days and her bad days, but the kindness that she has received from people, including Scarlett's family, just shows that there's hope and unity for people to be better to one another. Following Brianna's death, Mrs. Ghey met Scarlett's mother, which is insane to me. And truthfully, she's probably a better person than I am, because I wouldn't do that. I don't know that I would ever do that. Like, I'm pretty sure that I would go through life hating everybody that ever had anything to do with the person responsible for something like that. Like, oh, you cut her hair when she was a kid? I hate you too. Oh, you sold her candy at the store 3 weeks ago? I hate you too. Like, I just feel like I would just hate everybody that ever came into that had ever come into contact with the person responsible for doing, God forbid, doing something like that to one of my kids. Can't say for sure, and hopefully I never, ever, ever have to find out, but I just think that that's what I would feel. Mrs. Ghey says that she genuinely does not feel anger, hate, or rage towards Emma Jenkinson or towards Scarlett, saying, I could take what's happened and hide away at home, crippled with hate, wanting to get revenge, or I could try to make a more positive approach and actually make something good out of an absolutely horrific situation. And I choose to do the latter. And I commend you for that. I really do. Because at the end of the day, she's 100% correct.
We've all heard Brianna was an amazing, unique and joyful teenager. I will be forever thankful that I was lucky enough to spend 16 years with her. She taught me so much and gave me so much happiness and love. If there's one piece of advice that I can give to any parent, it would be to hug your children tight and never stop telling them that you love them. I want to thank you all for coming here today to pay respect to Brianna. I hope that wherever she is now, that she can feel the love that we've created by joining together today. Thank you to the Golden Square and to all involved for making this vigil happen. Thank you.
All right, guys, if you're still here, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you and I appreciate you so, so, so very much. Please like, subscribe, and comment if you haven't yet and you feel so inclined to, because it really helps me out. I really appreciate it. Until next time, stay safe out there.